Joining me live here on 6 p.m. Prime on India Today is Priyanka Chaturvedi, Rajya Sabha MP, Member of Parliament. Priyanka Chaturvedi put out a very interesting social media post. And Priyanka, if I can begin with that. You've said that it's hypocritical of the BJP to talk about Katchatheevu today and to raise this RTI reply. Why is that?
No, I don't call it hypocritical. I call it dangerous. I call it dangerous because it goes against India's integral interest, India's national interest. And it's also diabolical because there are two different responses and two different stances on this issue by the same government. When the Prime Minister yesterday spoke about an RTI which has come out recently and it was covered by a leading newspaper, it said that we had ceded space. India's first woman Prime Minister, whose national integrity and whose interest in nationalism cannot be questioned by far, who had divided Pakistan into two for India's interest, is being doubted, and her choices and what steps she's taken are being questioned, is being maligned by the current Prime Minister, keeping in mind his political interest in Tamil Nadu. The RTI that he was quoting has been filed by an office bearer of the Bharatiya Janata Party, who happens to be the president of the Tamil Nadu Bharatiya Janata Party unit, who himself is contesting an election, and as per that we have ceded that space. Now I have an RTI in front of me which is of 2015. 2015, the same Ministry of External Affairs has said on this issue on Katchatheevu, this did not involve either acquiring or ceding of territory belonging to India, since the area in question had never been demarcated. So we are changing our stance because of our political interest, and that is unfortunate. Today you are risking the lives of fishermen by saying that this particular island has been handed over to Sri Lanka. Whereas I can quote another RTI to you, 2013, which says that we have a copy of the agreement on the boundary in historic waters between two countries and related matters, signed on 26 June 1976, under Article 5 and under Article 6 of the same document, which has been signed by both India and Sri Lanka. It says the vessels of Sri Lanka and India will enjoy in each other's waters such rights as they have been traditionally enjoying. So this is absolutely diabolical, that to ensure that you win 1 or 2 odd seats as members of parliament, the Bharatiya Janata Party, you all are taking, you are doing away with national integrity.
But Priyanka Chaturvedi, you've cited a 2013 RTI reply, you've cited a 2015 RTI reply, and fair enough, those points are valid, I take that on record. Keeping aside the BJP for a moment here, yes, you said that all of this is being done for political mileage. It doesn't change the fact, Priyanka Chaturvedi, that the Congress and DMK together let Katchatheevu go.
No, again I'm repeating to you, and let me repeat this to you, please. Do not keep, using the same narrative that is being pushed by the Prime Minister for his political interest. I'm sorry. Let me repeat what has been our stance as far as 2015. The same government, the Foreign Minister who did a press conference today was then the Foreign Secretary, Sushma Swaraj was the Foreign Affairs Minister, did not involve either acquiring or ceding of territory belonging to India, since the area in question has never been demarcated. And again, I'm reading out that signed document of 1976, which under Article 5 and Article 6, which has been signed by both the nations, says no visa would be required, no travel documents would be required for Indians traveling to this particular island, or for Sri Lanka to be traveling there.
I take your point.
The second thing we have said is vessels of Sri Lanka and India under Article 6.
No, but I take your point, Priyanka. Let's say, let's take the word ceded out of it. Let's say it wasn't ceded in the official definition of the term. The reality is, however, that India didn't put up a fight when it should have for Katchatheevu. It doesn't take away from the fact that Katchatheevu is not with India, it's with Sri Lanka. And there was a 1974 agreement.
Okay, so now I have a question to give you. Did India have any documents? Can you bring out any documents in terms of ownership? Today, when the Prime Minister agreed with Bangladesh to do away with some territory of Indian territory to Bangladesh, does that mean that he put India's integrity at stake? Or that he undermined himself, or for his political self-interest, he gave away some land? It was a land border agreement, land boundary agreement. And if you go by the RTI, it clearly states that there was no Indian land at stake here. That's point one. Now, point two. will you all be able to ask the question of the Prime Minister, okay, you're raking an issue 40 years old, and consecutive governments have worked towards ensuring that the fishermen's interest is not lost. And every successive government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has worked to release them or to ensure that there's no harm done to them. My question to you would be, would someone ask the Prime Minister that what is his thought on the ceding away space to China in Arunachal Pradesh and Ladakh? Would their office bearer file an RTI, and will the government of India be as generous in sharing information as they've shared with on this particular issue? And where there are 3 different stances altogether of the Ministry of External Affairs? Would that RTI be able to tell us that why is it that China has renamed 30 cities of Arunachal Pradesh?
You've raised China. You've raised China repeatedly, Priyanka. The BJP maintains no land has been ceded there. So what's your response to that?
That's something that even the Prime Minister said post the Galwan Valley clashes. But there are enough and more reports out there in public domain. I would only ask the Prime Minister the same thing. Considering a BJP office bearer came up with this RTI, and you'll have given him a very detailed, I have the current RTI also, the detailed document that you'll have given a background history, a background note that has come from MEA on the basis of which all this argument is being made. We would request the Prime Minister, after his Jhula diplomacy, what has gone downhill, why has it gone downhill with China, and why is it that you'll continue to engage with China on the same very dispute that I'm talking about? Why is it that China has today gone and renamed 30 border towns of Arunachal Pradesh? I'm giving you facts of history. Let's have a detailed discussion on that as well. I will repeatedly raise China because that's a threat which we are all seeing. But the Prime Minister refuses to acknowledge. And we had a Minister of External Affairs who says, oh, since they are a bigger opponent, there's nothing much we can do. Isn't that also ceding India's interest? I think that is the question that needs to be asked. What you're discussing is a 40-year-old history. What you're not discussing is your tenure where you have ceded space to China without even getting into an agreement, which is in a win-win situation for India.
Okay, you've raised a valid point, and you're right in pointing out that this is a 40-year plus dispute that's now being raked up by the BJP. But thanks very much, Priyanka Chaturvedi, for taking the time out and joining us here on India Today.